Children, can you imagine what kind of emotions, what kind of feelings must have existed in the hearts of the people in that class? Now, when something so precious is taken away from people, what happens? There is a great sense of loss in the heart. There is a great sense of regret in the hearts of the people. And this was exactly what every single soul sitting in that class was experiencing, along with the teacher. Upstairs in the room where Mr. Hamel's personal room was, where he used to live, his sister was busy packing up the things because they were asked to leave. The government had asked them to leave the country. So she was doing the packing, and everybody sitting in the class had these emotions in their heart. And sometimes, children, what happens is these emotions lead to a sense of anger in the heart of people. And that anger, since it does not get an outlet, what happens? It results in frayed psyches, it results in depression, it results in a sense of dejection. And that was what Franz also felt at that time. There was some sounds of, pigeons cooing in the class. And out of anger towards the German people, you know what thought came to Franz's mind? He thought to himself, are these German forces going to make these pigeons coo in German? They have dared to impose their language upon us. Can they dare to impose their language upon the birds? Now this was the thought that was there in his heart. क्या अब ये कबूतरों को भी अपनी ज़बान बोलने के लिए कहेंगे? So this was out of desperation. This was out of that great sense of loss, sense of anger. So many mixed emotions were there in his heart that made him think like this. Children, this is a very sad story, and things like these actually happened in those times. These are all based on real life anecdotes. So children, listen to this very carefully, and I would want you to read the entire text on your own. I've already mailed it to you. Okay. So what happened after that? It was time to wind up the class. Mr. Hamel got up, and towards the end of the class, he stood up and he just could not bring himself to say anything. There was the sound of the Angelus. Angelus is like a sermon from the church. Just like you have the azan from the mosque, the Angelus is also a call for prayer for the Christian people. So there was a bell and the sound of the Angelus. It was then that Mr. Hamel got up, stood up, took a piece of chalk. Everybody was quiet in the class, went to the blackboard, and in huge cursive writing, he wrote, Vive la France, long live France. These were the last words that he wrote in French on the blackboard. And then he just rested his head against the blackboard. He just could not bring himself to say anything because he was so overwhelmed with emotions that he just gestured with his hands, closed his eyes and gestured with his hands. The class is dismissed. So this was the story of the last lesson. So I'm going to give you some tasks to do, children. Listen to the story once again very carefully, right from the first video that I sent you, and then give me your feedback. Bye-bye.